been months since that night, and yet sometimes I still wake up in a cold sweat, convinced she's standing at the foot of my bed. I keep telling myself it wasn't real, that maybe I was just tired, that my mind was playing tricks on me. But deep down, I know the truth. I brought something back with me. It all started after a late shift at the restaurant where I work. It was just past midnight, and I had decided to walk home since my car was in the shop. The route wasn't long, just a 15-minute stroll through a few empty streets. I'd done it a dozen times before without a second thought. But that night, it felt different, heavier, like the night itself was pressing against me. The streets were deserted. Not a single car, not even a stray dog. Just the sound of my footsteps on the cracked pavement. That's when I first heard it. Another set of footsteps slightly behind mine, matching my pace. I slowed down. The steps slowed too. I stopped. Silence. I started walking again. And there they were, following me. I dared myself to glance back, and there she was. A woman, wearing a long, old-fashioned dress. Her hair was wet, sticking to her face, though it hadn't rained in days. Her skin was so pale it almost glowed under the dim streetlights. But the worst part, her eyes. They were wrong. Wide open, unblinking, completely black, like bottomless pits. I froze. Every instinct screamed at me to run, but my body wouldn't move. She kept her distance, just standing there, staring. Finally, my legs obeyed, and I bolted. I didn't look back again until I reached my apartment complex. I fumbled with my keys, heart hammering in my chest. When I got inside, I locked the door and leaned against it, trying to calm myself. Surely she hadn't followed me all the way here. Surely. But then, I heard a soft, wet thud against the door, like something heavy, pressing itself against the wood. I didn't dare look through the peephole. I just stood there, frozen, listening. After what felt like an eternity, the noise stopped. Silence. I waited another hour before daring to move. When I finally looked through the peephole, nothing was there. I thought that was the end of it. I was wrong. That night, as I was lying in bed, I felt it. A weight on the mattress. Like someone had sat down at the foot of the bed. I squeezed my eyes shut, telling myself it was just a dream. Then I heard her voice. "You shouldn't have looked at me." I turned on the light in a panic, but no one was there. Since that night, sometimes I see her out of the corner of my eye, reflected in mirrors, standing in dark corners, never moving, always watching, waiting. And now, every night at exactly 3:03 a.m., I wake up to the feeling of that same weight at the end of my bed. I don't dare look anymore, because deep down, I know if I see her face again, I won't wake up at all. I always found walking at night to be one of the few things that brought me peace. The quiet city, the cool breeze, the sound of my own footsteps. It was almost therapeutic. But that was before that night, before I learned that darkness doesn't just hide shadows. Sometimes, it holds things that prefer the silence, things that don't want to be noticed. It was a Friday around 11 p.m. when I decided to go for a walk. I had spent the entire day locked inside studying, and my brain felt like it was melting. I put on my headphones, turned on a calming playlist, and followed my usual route. 5 blocks to the small park near the highway, then a loop through the oldest part of the neighborhood, and finally the return past the church. A path I knew by heart, until that night. Right away, I noticed something was different. No wind, no passing cars. Even the crickets had stopped chirping. The silence was so heavy that it made me take off my headphones, and that's when I heard it. The first strange sound. Footsteps. But not mine. I stopped and looked behind me. Nothing. I started walking again, more alert this time. The footsteps resumed as well. When I stopped, they stopped. My chest tightened. Maybe I was just imagining things. But as I turned the corner onto Palm Street, I saw him. A man. Standing on the sidewalk, right outside the reach of the streetlight. Tall, still, hooded. His silhouette seemed to blur into the darkness, but I could tell he was looking straight at me. And worse, he seemed to be waiting. My feet locked in place. I had no reason to be afraid, right? He could be just a local waiting for someone, or some drunk wandering home, but something about him wasn't right. I hesitated, debating whether to cross the street or turn back. Before I could decide, he took a step toward me. That was enough. I turned and started walking fast. I didn't run, because running felt like admitting there was danger, but when I glanced over my shoulder, he was following me, silently, steadily, like he already knew where I was going. I picked up my pace, turned down 2 random streets, trying to shake him off, but it didn't work. Every time I looked back, he was there. Same distance, same slow, deliberate movements. I reached the church street hoping to see anyone, but the plaza was empty. All the streetlights were off. The church door, slightly ajar. I ran inside and hid behind one of the pews. The darkness inside was almost complete, except for a faint light coming from the altar. I held my breath. Maybe I was safe. Then I heard the door creak open. Footsteps. Not mine. He had followed me in. I curled up, trying not to make a sound. The footsteps echoed through the stone walls. Slowly, he moved between the pews, searching for me, or knowing exactly where I was. When his feet stopped just behind me, I thought I was going to die right there. But he didn't touch me. He just whispered, "You've seen me before, in your dream last Tuesday." I had no idea what he meant, but the next second, he vanished, just like that. The church fell silent. I ran home and never took that route again. But ever since that night, I've had the same dream, always the same scene. Me turning the corner onto Palm Street, and him waiting for me. I never used to be afraid of walking at night, but after what happened that night, I can't even look outside after 10. I know what I saw, and no matter how much people try to tell me it was just my imagination, I know that thing wasn't human. It was something that wore my face. It started when I had to leave my cousin's house late at night. His neighborhood is on the outskirts of town, and my motorcycle was acting up, so I had to walk. It was around 2 a.m. when I reached the dark stretch of road that cuts through the back of the neighborhood. No houses there, just empty fields on both sides, twisted trees, and flickering street lights, leaving long sections of the road in total darkness. I had walked that path before, but that night, the silence was suffocating. No crickets, no wind, nothing. Just my breathing and the crunch of my footsteps on the cracked asphalt. And then, I heard another pair of footsteps, coming from the darkness ahead. They stopped when I stopped. I thought someone was just walking toward me, so I waited under the next streetlight, but no one appeared. When I turned to check behind me, my heart stopped. I was staring at myself. A figure, exactly like me. Same clothes, same backpack, slung over one shoulder. But it wasn't me. The eyes were too wide, and even from a distance I could see. They were completely black. I froze. The thing didn't move. It just stared as if studying me. I took a slow step back, and it stepped forward. I ran. I had never run that fast in my life, but every time I glanced back, it was closer, running in a strange, jerky way, as if it didn't fully understand how to move, like a child imitating an adult, or something that had only just learned how to use a body. I found an old storage shed near the road and darted inside. It was too cold inside, unnaturally cold. And then, I heard my own voice. "Hey, come on out. It's okay. It was just a joke." But I hadn't said anything. It was trying to lure me out, using my own voice. I held my breath. Through the broken glass of a window, I saw it enter. It still had my body, my face. But now, the neck was bent wrong, and its mouth stretched too wide, smiling. And then it spoke. "I like your body. It fits well." I ran. I ran until I collapsed in my bed, shaking. The next morning, I returned to the shed with my uncle and a cop. They found nothing, except for a backpack, identical to mine, with my name on the tag. But I had never left anything there.